We got it. We got it. Crypto crazy. What up? What up? What up? What up? Sweet. Hey, Lucas. So ready. Me too. It's been a lot of fun. We've been having a lot of fun with the content we're creating with YouTube, with the new Instagram. I connected with so many people off Instagram. That's been super cool. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Please let me know. And I'll make this really, really quick, but I'm really excited and was hoping to get uh, eh, as many people who want to get involved with this are able to get involved with this. I'm been in a season these last few months of literally how can I serve when you're taken care of, and I guess it's the hierarchy of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But I'm seriously wake up in the morning and go to sleep at night thinking what can serve people better, and it's been on my heart since last year to do a really powerful in-person meetup. And last year we just weren't it just wasn't feasible with the team we had, with the resources we had. Now it's been really on my heart. And so I kind of want to share some details around that, but also like the free course we created was also on that. Is Cecile, you say you can hear me and see me clearly. Good. Yo, 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 make money, make my fun. Um, I have a few mentors, but one of them today, I meet up on Thursday, and it was a lot of what motivates Lucas at the core. What has him get up in the morning? What has him work through the obstacles and the bullshit and the challenges and the everything that comes with it at the core? And you'll know you're growing when the thing that fuels you changes. Just to give, we'll just have a little chat before we get some more people on here. Let me know if you can hear me, see me. Let me know why you're here. Why are you on this YouTube channel? Why are you doing the investing thing? Fill me in a little bit on your life, on who you are, on why you're here. And we'll get started in about 2 minutes. But I think this is going to be important for everyone. What's motivating you now is not going to be thing that motivates you next year, most likely. I heard this I heard this somewhere was and this hurt me when I was in my 20s because I was striving to get all these results in my life and I wasn't getting them. And someone said this and I forget, I think I read it or heard it, but it was like most people walk around the planet. They say they want stuff and they never achieve it. It's like the most common thing. I forget the exact quote, but it was something about like it's like one of the most common things or something like that. And I remember being like, that's me. Everything I've tried, I I keep walking around. I have all these things I want to accomplish, and I'm not accomplishing any of it, no matter how hard I try. And I started asking very different questions. And I stopped asking the question of how because I realized sometimes I even knew what to do, but I'd F it up. I'd sabotage myself. Who can relate to this? I still do this at times, by the way. It's why I'm always in community, always have people who support in some way. Robster, let me know what the details are there. Um, yeah, let me know what the details are here, and I'll expedite it to the admins here. Why do so many people say they want why do so many people strive for something but so few get results? Why? That question has haunted me in a good way ever since I got on the journey. Cuz I'm like some people achieve everything they wanted and more and most people don't. Most people at some point say, well, they start dropping their deepest desires. They have this dream, they have this vision, they have this thing that their heart wants or God's calling them to or the universe or they just feel intrinsically pulled to this thing and they just keep getting beat up. And eventually they say, "Well, maybe money's not important. Well, maybe, I wanted this house and I wanted that acreage and I wanted to have a homestead, but you know what? Meh. Or maybe I wanted financial freedom and I wanted to do something I love, but you know what? This job's kind of okay. Ugh. And so I guess I'll just ugh. Or you know what, this relationship I've been looking and I know it's not ideal, but I'll settle. I'll settle. I'll settle. I'll settle. I'll settle. And I got sick and tired of that at some point. of constantly settling, constantly feeling guilty for wanting things. I grew up in a trailer park, constantly feeling like maybe I don't deserve it. And I don't want to go too deep down this personal development stuff. I want to keep it a little more DeFi related today, but I thought it's worth bringing up because I think a lot of us struggle with it at some capacity. If you don't, you're probably struggling with it more than you think you are. I've learned that a long time ago too. But anyways, that covers a lot of different ideas there. And at some point, I got really sick and tired of it, and there had to be it's a constant conversation, but there had to start being conversations I had to start having with myself, very honest conversations. And what quickly became true to me and what I became aware of is that I was lying to myself oftentimes. I was lying to myself about where I actually was. I was lying to myself about what I actually wanted. I was pleasing. I was blah, blah, blah. I was settling. I was compromising, all that. And at the end of the day, I was asking the question, how? Which was the worst question to ask. The question I should have been asking, and eventually I ask, and now it's all I ask is who? I'm in charge of getting clear on that vision, getting clear on that connection, getting the downloads, and the rest is not up to me. It's that one step at a time thing. Oftentimes when I'm doing something, I'll be honest with this event, it's it's potentially going to be bigger than I even thought I wanted because of the feedback I've already had and people even jumping in to be like, "Hey, I could support. Hey, I know a group that I could talk about this to." I'm like, "Well, at first I'm like, what if we had 100 people?" Now I'm like, "Well, what if we had a couple hundred people?" Vision. What if we had a one day, what if it was a 3-day event that was about money. It started with money mindset, finances, investing, and the last day was a personal development event. Then I had someone who's like, "Hey, they facilitate firewalking." They're like, "What if your last day was super epic and people faced all their fears and shed all their demons, and it was like a 2-3 hour firewalk at the end?" And all these ideas are coming together, and I'm getting extremely high frequency about it. So excited by it. And guess how I will um, if I start asking the question, "Okay, but how?" Okay, and then how would we do that? Oh, and then do we need the work visas? And then what about this? And what about that? It's like, that's not up to me. That's not up to me. And I can ask the question, who? First of all, Lucas, who do you have to be to make this a reality? August 9th to the 11th. And Lucas, who, that's me, who can you bring in who can make this a reality? Who can you reach out to who's already done it? Which I already have started to, and I already have support on that front. And I'm like, "Okay, so let's say you want financial freedom. Let's not talk about Lucas and this epic event, which I'm going to share in a second. I'm going to drop a link if you're interested in this event. This is not a commitment, but we are gathering a lot of ideas, and we're bringing the community in to help us with this. There are big, big perks to being a UIG member, and I will share those details as we go on. Big perks, like big, big perks. But for now, I just want to get a consensus and an idea from both our UIG members, from the YouTube community, from our Instagram, for anyone of like what would make the perfect event for you. And I'll share that in a second because the event's not about me. It's ultimately about you and the attendees and the people coming. But what I will say is um, let's say you want financial freedom. Most people jump right into the how. Over what you will be overwhelmed instantly if you ask the question how. Okay, how do I exactly do that? Because there's a lot of steps. There's a lot of unknown. There's a lot of things that you don't know. Or, hey, lately we've been getting help with some entities, family trust, all this bullshit that I would never know how to do because, you know, who am I? I don't know any of that stuff. I got to find the experts to do it. When I started exploring that journey and setting up kind of entities that would support us on a tax front, this is just me in my personal life, of course. I would be overwhelmed if I asked the question how, because it is extremely complex process and there's a bunch of BS along the way and accountants and lawyers and all these people collaborating to figure out the best structure for blah, 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 blah. All junk crap, but it's part of the game. But if I asked the question, okay, how do I do that? I would be quickly overwhelmed. Okay, how do I build financial freedom? How do I build a DeFi passive income? How do I run a successful 3-day event in a different country? How do I don't know what it is, but most of us are doing that. And it's why we're not getting the result because we will quickly become overwhelmed. We're going to, a mentor gave me this. It's kind of a Bob Proctor's idea, but it's just like we get into a high frequency state because we're like, that's what I want. I want that house, or I want to join that thing, or I want to go on that holiday, or I want to become financially free. And we get very excited. Who here gets excited when they think about that? Oh my God, what if I made 10K a month passively? What if? What if? And we get super excited by it. And then we're like, that's what I want. And we get excited by it. And then we kind of start poking around and it's like, okay, well, oh shoot, okay, well, I don't really understand that. Okay, oh, you know what? Oh man, you need that capital. Oh man. Well, I don't really get it. I don't know if I'm smart enough. I don't know if I have the time. Next thing you know, we're right back down here. And what we want is vibrating. It's in a frequency that's at a much, we won't even use that word, but energetically, the idea is here. Einstein kind of said this too, is like you can't solve the problem in the same state of mind that created it. That's really the same idea. We're just talking a little bit more energetics instead of just mind and thoughts, but same idea. Now we're here. And it's like, okay, well, this will just stay and eventually it vanishes. And then maybe a few years later, we get inspired by the idea again. And then logic, 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 what if, what if, what if, what if, what if, instead of what if, what if, what if, what if, keeping that alive. And once I learned that that is literally the secret to creation, nothing else. Doesn't matter what books you read, what religion you're a part of, what God you worship, um, what morning routines you do, what what you read. I mean, all of that. I guess uh, some of that stuff can play a role in it. But at the end of the day, it is what do I desire? What do I want? What do I want? What gives me goosebumps? We talk about this. Is the universe? The soul doesn't speak in words; it speaks in frequency, in feelings, in goosebumps. What do I want? What gets me so lit? Because that is literally your highest calling. Because when you are on purpose, you are literally changing the world. I don't really want to talk about this today, but I can't help it. You are literally changing the world when you are on purpose. You are affecting other people, whether you know it or not. Some people will be inspired by you. Some people will be terrified of it. They'll be saying you're too much, but you're also doing them a gift because they're confronted with a mirror and eventually they'll look. I hope you guys don't mind me just sharing a little bit of truth here, and then I'll share a link for the event. I would love to get your input on what would make the most epic 3-day money, investor, DeFi, and personal development event. We already have been reaching out to a few people who could speak, teach, slash collaborate with us. It'll be pretty cool. I'll share that in literally 2 more minutes. I want to change. I want to finish this thought because this to me is more important than our damn event or anything we do. This is literally to me the essence of life. And maybe you'll never come back on this channel and you'll never hear from me again. But I hope some of these words will um, change or sow some seeds in some way. By the way, this isn't my message. This is so universal. It's just someone's delivery may land for you where someone else's didn't. That's all. But when we're on purpose, it to me, it's the greatest gift you can give to humanity and to everyone else around you. 2, to me, it's success. Like that to me is success. And 3, a lot of people talk about prayer, and I know I offend people, especially if they have a bit of a uh, it depends on their relationship to certain faiths. But I see a lot of people doing, they pray or they ask or they do all these things. But I'm like, if you really want to, like, I personally, and I used to do this, I used to do gratitude exercises all the time. I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. But I lived a very different life. I wasn't congruent with that. And when I started understanding that, like, gratitude is an action, gratitude is the way I show up. Gratitude is waking up in the morning and doing what I'm here to do. And that is literally me saying thank you to whatever higher power you may believe in. If you do, if you don't, it's totally fine too. But gratitude is an action. And by living your highest purpose and having the courage to pursue it, you are living a life of gratitude. Not every day is going to be perfect. I have my days where I'm like, oh my God. Even this event we're doing is not for money. Every single dollar goes back into the event. It's not even, we don't get a drip of dollars. And I know there's going to be frustrations and roadblocks and annoyances and logistics and people are involved. Of course, it always gets difficult, leadership, blah, blah, blah. But in my heart of heart, goosebumps. It gives me goosebumps. I talked to mentors today about it. I'm like, I know it's not the best business move, but I know this is going to transform people's lives. I know this is going to build a deeper sense of community for people. And I know connections, friendships are going to be built. And of course, on my end, it's like it'll be extremely fulfilling for me. Financially doesn't really make sense. It's like, it seriously doesn't make sense at all. But if I don't look at the finances, it makes sense to, like, well, that's your purpose. That is what you're supposed to do. Follow your goosebumps. That is gratitude in action. I'm like, F it. Done. All in. Let's do it. And I don't know all the how. I don't know, you know, how it, there's benefits that are even beyond what you can sometimes logically say. But all I know is I need to follow that curiosity and keep pulling that string. And I've been doing that for so damn long that it's just become a habit. And life is very different for me now than it was a decade ago. Anywho, okay, enough about that. Enough about that, Robster. That's kind of up to people. I'm going to share something I created. I have a form I created. I'll share my screen here, and I'll share that screen in a second. I have a form I created here, as you can see. I posted this in the UIG, but I want to bring it to y'all's. We were talking about, it's doing really, really well. I think we had 40 submissions already, which is cool. But anyway, so we started putting this event together. I did put together a form. I'm going to share it in the comments here in a second. It would be a 3-day event. It would all be about networking, growth, expansion, and ultimately what my vision is, because every transformation I've had in my life was because of a in-person event. I've gotten a lot from programs. I've gotten a lot from coaching and courses and communities, and there's a ton of value to be had on that. But the thing that always made a quantum leap in my life, like a massive transformation, was in person, because you cannot hide. In a community and on the internet and on YouTube and on wherever you are, you can hide. You can give a false profile photo of you can turn off your camera. You can not show up. When you're in a room for 3 days, you cannot hide. And it's why I've always seen the biggest transformation there, because Lucas had to show up. And so what I think this will be, I've been a part of a lot of communities, masterminds, in-person events, and I've always had the biggest breakthroughs there. Sometimes on day 1, sometimes on day 3. I've been to 7-day events too, where you literally don't touch your phone for 7 days and you're in deep work for 18 hours a day. This won't be 7 days. And it's going to be mixing money, finance, mindset, vision, and transformation, which is non-negotiable for me. You know, if you've ever been in my world for anything we've ever done, it's transformation. I want you to leave different than when you came in. I don't care if that's from one YouTube video, one live, whatever the fuck they call this thing, one day in our community. I don't care, but I want you to leave a little bit different than you were when you started. That's literally, I tell the team all the time, that is literally our goal for everything we do, and every person we talk to and every connection we have. They're going to leave a little different than they were when they started. That's it. I don't care if it's 0.1%. I want you to leave 100% different at the end of this event. And I also, and this is kind of where I left it to the UIG community, and there are perks if you're in the UIG, because there's financial perks. There's going to be big financial perks to it, but there's also going to be VIP and some bonus stuff. But anywho, we want to get a minimum 100 people committed, and we did create a form, which when you click on the link, then I'm going to post in the comments right now. I think I just share this. I hope I do. Yeah, it seems like the right one. F it, we'll try it. I'm sharing in the comments now. I think I think I don't need that weird tracking thing. Let me just test this link quick. Make sure it's the one. Oh yeah, we got her. We're smart. All right. Uh okay, perfect. You can click on that. I think you can click on it. If not, I'll make sure I post it after somewhere in the description or whatever. But you can fill that out. In it, we ask a few questions. You're not put on any marketing lists. You won't be put on absolutely anything, only anything relating to this event. It is August 9th to the 11th. We do have multiple cities. Even if you're not planning to attend, even if you're like, okay, that's kind of cool, I would love for you to fill this out because we'll get details on things you'd like to see. So, you can pick as many as you want or as many as you choose. There will be as big of a financial commitment as you feel you'd like to make. It'll be a minimum $100. We don't make any money off this, but it's all reinvested into the event. We may create multiple tiers for tickets. And ultimately, the more people are willing, this event's for you, the more people are willing to pay, the more epic we can make it, and the more we can reinvest in it. Don't plan on making any money. In fact, it'll probably cost us money because we will probably have to inject more, but you can choose whatever you feel you'd be comfortable with for a 3-day transformative event. You can choose things that you love to see. Is it more speakers? Is it more group sessions? Is it all of it? Is it, I've got so many freaking millionaire friend investors who they'd be more than happy to come and hang out. It's not like a big stage where it's just keynotes. I want people working with people, so very hands on. And then question, if we held one day at the end that was full transformative, you leave different than you started. It transforms the way you see yourself, your identity, the way you show up in life, because how you do one thing's how you do everything. You can be like, yeah, that'd be cool. I think everyone, 40 plus people have filled this out, have said yes, but that is typically our community, is we're very growth orientated. You can share anything else you'd like to share, and name, last name, email. You will not be put on a marketing list. So the only email you will get is a personally written email where I will blind carbon copy everyone, and you're not put on some automation or some list at all. This is not hooked up to any automation, and your information won't be added to any automations. And then I think there's one more question. I just forget what it is, but yeah, is this something you'd want to do, or is it not? And if it's not, totally cool. But we're going to get some really valuable feedback from what you got. So that's that. I'm gonna share it one more time here. What up, Chris? If y'all's want to copy and paste that into your browser and fill it out if you're feeling connected, if you're watching the replay, I'm also going to leave it in the first comment above. And would love to meet in person. Would love to hold an event. I have a feeling we'll have, because of some people who are like, hey, I'm part of other communities. I'd love to get them involved. Could we partner up or could we do something? I'd be very open to it. And if we could get a couple hundred people, I'd be really open to that too. Um, I think the connections and the networking, and then ultimately the transformation people will see. You can't hide when you're in person. You cannot hide. I think most people are lacking any kind of financial plan, any kind of investment plan. Their DeFi portfolios are amiss or not existent. The whole team would be there: Colin, David, Trung, Maddie's from Amsterdam, so that might be difficult. Um, and probably some of our admins would be there to help facilitate things and the back end stuff. And it'd be a lot of fun. I've been to a lot of these, and I know what I liked and what I didn't. And a part of the networking and the fun was always extremely important for me, because some of my friendships, connections, and even some business partnerships now were built because of these events. Yeah, and events, in person stuff has always been the most transformative sort of spark for me. And I was just telling Colin of like or was it? No, I think it was actually in the UIG community. But anyway, I get mixed up. I talk to a lot of people on a daily basis. Excited to just be able to give back in a way that has transformed my life. I used to join 2 or 3 a year. Now the last year and a half, I've been pretty busy building, but now I'm pretty much have an event every month for the next 10 months because of a mastermind I signed up for. The difference is, and this is kind of what's on my heart, I paid 40K US for this mastermind that I just joined a week ago. That includes 10 events. Again, I got to fly, stay in hotels, all the stuff on top of that. So I'm sure I'll spend a lot more than that. But I can't hide. And at some level in business or life, um, not many people will hold you to a higher standard. And I've realized that. And so I'm like, I need to get around people who will call me on my crap, and whatever I have to pay, I'll pay. Whatever I need to pay to be in those rooms, I'll pay. I have it on my heart to, and this is why we started the UIG too, is how do we make this stuff accessible to absolutely anyone who wants it and desires it? And this event will be no different. It's why we don't have a $10,000 price tag on it. Although I want people feeling like they paid it, just like the UIG is literally a coffee per day. But I want people feeling like, they're spending a grand a month or more. I want people having access to live calls per day and being able to have group chats and um, like, how do we do that for $3 a day? How do we do it where it's bordering what you'd pay for a full-fledged coaching program, which typically go for 8K or more? This event will be no different. Everything we're doing in the UIG is no different. Everything CryptoLabs stands for is no different. So I'm kind of excited to be able to give that back. And so many people, I think, haven't experienced the in-person transformative event. It may be their first exposure to it. And I know for me, my first one was 2,500 bucks. I flew down to San Francisco, and it's the first time I experienced something like this, and it changed my life. I did not come back the same, and my life only went up from there. And I do credit a lot of my early momentum to that one event. And honestly, it wasn't even that good. It was the energy. It was like telling me that, hey, I'm worth it. But two, it was some of the people I met, the little connections I made. It was 2 days. Um, in San Francisco. There was maybe 15 people there or something. And then I've been to some that had a couple hundred. And sometimes the more people, the better, because the more transformative it is, because the energy is higher. So, anywho, sweet. Alrighty, cool. Well, that's my time. I know I talked about a lot of stuff that I didn't plan on talking about, but I can't change these things. You know me. I People don't want to hear this, and it's fine. I didn't, and I at times don't, but it's true. And you can run from the truth or you can accept it. And it's through the acceptance of the truth. But the truth is that life is a mirror of who we are. The external is a reflection of the internal. And that's scary for people because that means we have to assume absolute responsibility. Full stop. That's a law. It's not 99% of the time we assume responsibilities. It's not 99.5%, but there's just this like small 0.5% that like I really had nothing to do with it, and it honestly really happened to me. It doesn't work that way. It's either you're it doesn't mean that it's your fault or that you don't you have to take blame for it, but you do take responsibility. And there may be ways that and this is so hard to hear, and I know it. I've struggled, honestly, I've wrestled with this for so long, so long. I've spent so much time, invested so much time and so much money reading and flying and looking for mentors as I wrestled with this in my 20s and into my early 30s until I came into full acceptance of this. And so I respect wherever you are in your journey when it comes to this, but in ways that we may not even know consciously, because think about this, 90% of our life is run subconsciously. We're not even aware of it. And so I think it's fair to say that a lot of the situations we end up in are subconscious manifestations of something that we may not even be aware we chose to be there at that time to learn whatever lesson we had to learn at that moment. We don't know what happened before we came here in physical form, and it may have been a choice before we even came here, a choice of a journey or a choice of being born in certain situations and circumstances for our highest spiritual growth. We don't know these things. But the second you accept that your external is a direct reflection of your internal, and it's not an easy one. If you really sit and meditate on this for months or years, you will wrestle with it. It's not easy. Um, but all I can say is once I accepted that to be true, my life transformed in many ways. Um, when every time you're pointing the finger, you're ultimately just pointing it back at you. And so there's no point pointing a finger out. It's always just pointed at you. Not blaming, not shaming, but just accepting responsibility for it. It's not easy because there's going to be circumstances where like, what? What? And it's not that, oh my God, how is this my fault? Or how, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's not about shame. We're not lowering our frequency, but it's taking responsibility, accepting it, and moving forward on it. Anywho, alrighty. I'm gonna get out of here. Is everyone subscribed to this YouTube channel? Because YouTube tells me that only 30% of people who watch your videos are subscribed, and I took a little offense to that, jokingly. Um, I will not tell you the best advice I can do. Build a business, treat it like a business. Most people aren't. They're fucking around. If you want my honest truth, they're fucking around. Um, I don't. That's just I speak before I think. I try to be as honest as I can. They're effing around. Um, they're so far from investors. It's not even funny, and that's okay. But they're not willing to even entertain that thought. They get offended when they hear it, and if you take offense to something, it is for you. I live my life by that because I do hear sometimes something that I'm like, "Ugh," and I'm like, ooh, that's for me. Thank you. I don't like it, but thank you. Um, treat it like a business, and that means you're disciplined. That means you show up daily. That means you have systems in place. It means when you have something on your calendar, you show up for it. It means that you are treating it like a business. Um, and all I mean by that, yes, there's systems and there's things we do, but at the end of the day, you're treating it with the respect it deserves. I will not tell you a good LP to enter. I refuse to because that never goes over well. People enter it without knowing why they're doing it. I want you to know why the LP is good. Um, I want you to know why it won't do you any good because you're gonna get into an LP. Then I'm like, hey, this is really hot. Every Wednesday we have opportunity of the week. Who here is in the UIG and checked out the opportunity of the week yesterday? Brilliant opportunity. I got in it as well. It's brilliant. But if you don't know why you're getting into it or why you're setting the range you're setting or how it fits your overall portfolio, then it will do you a disservice. It won't be good for you. It just won't be. Every Friday we share 6 opportunities. I'm gonna share. If you guys look closely, I'm sure you'll probably freaking um, be able to snatch 1 or 2. But here in the UIG, which literally, if you remember, there's big perks for this event, financially, but also some insider stuff that people not in the UIG will not get access to, unfortunately. Okay, if you go into the DeFi investor group, there's an opportunity every single week. Please jump on them because let me go back a few weeks. Let me just go back to like this one. We jump into the TA. We there's 5 to 10 hours of research that's done, and that's between 2 people, but tons of research done. And then every Friday on our end of week reports, I'll go back a few weeks. There's these 6 there's a ton of kind of market analysis done overall. And then there is the top 3 best long-term stable pools and the top 3 highest paid pools. We cover different ranges, TA, support, resistance, and there's about 20 hours of research that goes into each report because we don't want it to be just like, hey, here's the pool of the week. It's like, no, no, no. Here's the TA. Here's what we're looking at. Here's what we're thinking about the assets. Here's the value in the assets. And here's how we're playing this strategically. Because it has to have way more context than just, hey, you know, Injective and ETH is a great pool. Well, why? Well, here's a narrative for ETH. Here's a narrative for Injective. Here's a narrative for Orca. Here's a narrative, and here's the correlation matrix. Here's the correlation coefficient. Here's why we think this is a good play. Here's how this fits our portfolio. Now you can make a decision on if and how it fits your portfolio. But the the education has to be there. I see a lot of other YouTube channels that sometimes those kind of videos do way better. I just refuse to do them. Of like, here's the best investment you could possibly make. But I'm like, that's bullshit. It's not true. Timing matters. Strategy matters. Overall portfolio allocation matters. How diversified you are. And are you further diversifying by investing in that? Or are you going all in on one, that might be one blockchain or one asset or one type of technology or one narrative like AI? More to it. It's more it's got to be more holistic than here's the best LP. Yep, it's definitely gonna affect DeFi short term, either for good or bad. Since the news came out, we saw the markets go green. I think crypto is kind of used to all this stuff. Um, so I haven't honestly. We did a little research. Me and David talked about it yesterday. We don't care. Short term, maybe it'll create some ripples here and there. We just want to keep getting paid. So, um, a lot of pairs aren't actually really on ETH. I think some people tend to like to be paired to uh, ETH, but ultimately, if that's a concern for people, then they may want to get into things that are a little less correlated to ETH. But that said, um, we want to get paid fees. So I don't care if the market drops by 50%. I honestly don't care. I never did. If it drops by 50% for 5 months, it won't. But if it did and it creeps back up, I don't care. Can I keep getting paid fees? And then can I keep taking my daily income and buying assets no matter what the market is doing? Because long term, I'm talking the next year, I'm bullish. But if it doesn't pan out that way, I'm bullish for the next 3, 4, 5 years. There is massive amounts of wealth, life changing wealth to be had in this space. And I think we all know it or we want to be here. So short term, I really don't care. And it's not going to be like it's an overnight thing. Lawsuits take forever. We all know that. We've seen what happened with XRP and all that. So not really concerned about it at all. Just need to watch the market, stay on top of them, and make fees and get paid, and then use those fees to. Have you seen more DeFi, XRP, XLM? There's no really opportunities with those, to be honest with you. I started selling off my XRP. I think it's too big of an opportunity cost for me personally. It's been the worst performer of my entire portfolio. Luckily, it only made a small percentage, but it hasn't been performing and there's no opportunity cost. So I've been selling it and putting it to work because there's no earning opportunity on them. And again, that's just mine. I'm not saying for you to do that. It's got to fit your overall strategy, overall portfolio, but um, your long-term strategy. I can't, you know. Anywho, all right. Shebangle. Fill out that form. If you have questions, I'm going to leave my Instagram. I got a few DMs since I posted this regarding the event. If you have questions or want to share any feedback, etc. Yeah, XRP is basically a stable coin nowadays. That said, you never know. You never know. You can check out the new Instagram. I'm going to drop the link for the form in case you missed it here. Check that out. And I'll share one more link into the UIG for those who have been on the fence for a while. And you're like, you know what? Screw it. I'm jumping off the fence. I'm going to do what I know is going to cause and force me to expand. And I'm going to learn from people who are doing this every single freaking day. And there's 4 of us now that literally do this full time. And then probably 20% of the community does this freaking full time. It's pretty cool. But ultimately, I'll leave those choices and decisions up to you. If you just decide to subscribe to this YouTube channel and be a YouTube subscriber, and that's as far as you'll ever go in our relationship and journey, then I'm more than okay with that. I will never stop showing up here and giving as much value as I possibly can. Um, to the confines that YouTube allows me to, of course. So that'll never change either. So you are welcome and valued, whether you're free on the YouTube or you're a member or even you're a fast track client. You're valued in whatever way you show up. My only job is to create value. I love you at the in-person event. It really won't be costly. We want to keep the cost down as low as possible. It'll really just cover some of the bigger parts of the event. Like literally, it'll be the price of a one or two dinners out for most people. That's how I want to keep it. I don't want to make it a big expensive thing because I want to make it accessible to anyone who wants true transformation. But um, you know, I can't force people to come. So I hope to see you at that one. And UIG members will get a big perk, a very big perk in terms of um, prices and all that fun stuff. So I hope to see you in the UIG either way. Plus, I'd like people to have a bit of a fundamental education. So like actually be in the conversation. So when they show up in person, it's like, yeah, we're fully up to speed with the conversation and they can get the most out of in person, hands on type stuff. David is going to be doing a ton of TA and working in portfolios and working in pools and structuring portfolios. We're going to be building portfolios real time. It's going to be a lot of fun, making profit taking strategies, all that stuff in person, 3 days, good times mixed with a little mental development, personal development, spiritual development, transformation. It'll be a good time. So excited to meet some of y'all's. With that said, I'm gonna get out of here. Chip Tooth Zabal, what up? With that said, cool. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, because only 40% of y'all's are. And yeah, I'm out of here.